Okay, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Hi, my name is Sandy Hartz. I'm the chair of the Lake County Board. On behalf of my colleagues, many of whom are on this call tonight, thank you so much for attending Lake County's very first reapportionment public input meeting. This is different from the town hall meetings that we've had in the past. This is really about hearing from members of the public. So we really look forward to hearing your input. I'm joined tonight by Gary Gibson, our Lake County Administrator, Cassandra Torstensen, the Assistant County Administrator, and Karen Fox, the Chief Deputy of the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. And importantly, by Tony and Sylvia, who are both here providing interpretation tonight for us. This meeting is live and is being recorded. And this is the first time that we're doing a virtual listening session and also in 2 languages. So I hope you'll bear with us as we maneuver through the technology this evening. So thank you in advance. People can select the interpretation icon at the bottom of their screen in Zoom to determine whether or not you want to hear the audio in English or in Spanish. So, and if you are listening to the meeting in Spanish, you may find it easier to mute me entirely. And so you do have that option instead of hearing it sort of in a lower volume while interpretation is being provided. And please know that there may be a time delay if somebody does have a statement in Spanish for Sylvia or Tony to interpret it back to us. So we will start tonight's presentation with, tonight's meeting with a very short presentation on reapportionment. And following that, we'll open it up to hearing your input. If you can turn to the next slide, please, Alex. Okay, thank you. So like I said, it's offered in both English and Spanish. So to raise your hand, if you're on the computer, you just click the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. You might have to use your mouse to find it. And there's that raise hand feature. If you are dialing in by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. And then when we say your name, you'll be asked to unmute yourself. And to do that, you hit *6. And please know that with Zoom, what we found out yesterday is that if your app is has not been updated, you may not, like something happens within the app. So just while you're listening here, if you could just make sure that the app is updated, the Zoom app, and then you'll be ready to go. So thank you. Next slide, please. So again, tonight's meeting is about 2020 Lake County Board reapportionment, and there are many things happening around the country, around our state, around Lake County, and those are definitely important things, and they should be discussed. But tonight is really a listening session for the board members and our staff to hear from you. So we're not going to accept the sort of public comment on things that is not related to reapportionment. And if you would like to reach out to your county board members, as I said, many of them are on here tonight, and they are
Hi, this is Gary. It appears that Chair Hart, you just froze for about 10 seconds.
Okay, am I back on?
You're back on now, I believe.
Okay, I'm not sure where I left off, but I think what I'll say is that your Lake County board members are well versed in county and state issues, and you can get a newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter if you haven't done so already. You can visit www.lakecountyil.gov and go to government, and you'll find your board member, and you can sign up for the newsletter there. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what is reapportionment? It's really that redrawing of district boundaries. And that happens at the federal, state, and county level. But tonight, obviously, what we do is the county reapportionment. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. Our counties are governed by state statute and the county's code. And so we'll get into that. There is one county in the state of Illinois that is not governed really by our county's code. And that's Cook County. So for all the other counties, we follow the county code here in the state of Illinois. So it's completed every 10 years and by state statute. So as it is written in statute, it uses the last preceding decennial census. And that's important, and I'll get into that in a future slide. But really this process, we need to determine as a board, and it will go for a vote sometime over the next few months, the number of board members, the number of board districts, and sometimes some counties have multi-member districts. So that's why those two things can be different. So our board will need to decide if we want to move to a multi-member district or stay a single member district, and then a determination about how the county board chair is elected. This process is not required when county board members are elected at large. What that means is if it was sort of all one big county, and then you wouldn't have to do redistricting, right? Because it's just one big district. So county board reapportionment does not impact drawing of other boundaries, right? This is just for county board districts. So it doesn't have anything to do with the boundaries of municipalities, school district or library district or park district boundaries, none of those things. It does not impact your taxes in any way, and it does not impact zoning in any way. So hopefully that helps. And importantly, also congressional or state district boundaries, those are determined at the federal and at the state level. Next slide, please. Thank you. So it started being required in 1971, and every 10 years, reapportionment requirements, those requirements are also set out in county code that they need to be substantially equal in population. And that word substantially, we are working with the state's attorney's office to determine what does substantially equal mean, because one of the things that we want to be sure of is that the districts are balanced, and where we can keep neighborhoods together, we can. And then contiguous and nearly compact as practicable. And so it does say using the last preceding decennial census. People on this call this evening may know that the 2020 census data is delayed. That is our last preceding decennial census. But our last complete decennial census is 2010. So there's a lot of discussion going on between all of the counties in the state of Illinois, and I would venture across the country about, hey, we need to make sure we are using our 2020 census data. I know our county board feels strongly about that. We had an enormous effort during a pandemic to ensure that as many people got counted as was possible. We had a lot of help from many, many groups across the county. And so it's really important that we can utilize that 2020 census data. So we are working with the state, our state legislators, in the hopes to give us more time to be able to use that 2020 census data. And so you'll see our reapportionment is due by July 1, or the day after the regularly scheduled July County Board meeting. That July County Board meeting is July 13th. There's something called legacy data that will be back in mid-August, and all of the census data is supposed to be back by end of September. So what the counties are requesting from the state government is, hey, please give us more time so that we can meet the requirements and use that 2020 census data. So we can't, we can't use it right now because we don't have it, but please know that is something that we're advocating for truly on a daily basis, multiple times a day. And also importantly, compliance with the Federal Voting Rights Act is required. So where you have groupings of minority populations, it's important to keep groupings together when they are at 50% or greater. And so that's that compliance with the Federal Voting Rights Act. And after the county board approves the new reapportionment, all the new districts, that final plan is filed with the county clerk here in Lake County. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just very briefly, history of reapportionment here in Lake. 1992, our population was about 516,000. We had 23 people. In 2002, 10 years later, obviously our population grew and the number of districts stayed the same. In 2012, our population grew again, and the number of people serving on the board went down to 21. And of course, in 2021, we will see what the county board decides, and certainly the information that we hear in these listening sessions, I think will be very helpful. So I hope you will consider raising your hand and telling us what you think. Next slide, please. Oh, so just a reminder. Okay, so just a reminder again, if you want to raise your hand, press *9 if you're on your phone, and *6 to unmute yourself. And then again, on the computer, it's just the raise your hand button. And we are limiting input to 3 minutes, and we will have a timer, as you'll see in a moment. And that's obviously as a courtesy to everyone who would like to speak. So you'll be cut off at 3 minutes. So we appreciate that. And also, again, if people are here to talk about something other than reapportionment, please know that we understand that these issues are important to you, important to many others, but this is really a listening session for us about reapportionment. So we will mute mics if that happens. Thank you. Next slide, please. So we'll have this screen up during the session this evening, and it's just a reminder of sort of those points that we're hoping to hear feedback on. And again, that's the number of board districts and if we want single or multi-member. And so I've kind of shown some of the things here about what the collar counties are doing. The collar counties are those counties that form a collar around Cook and the city of Chicago, right? So Lake is part of the collar county. So McHenry right now has 6 districts, quite large districts with 4 members in each district. And they will be moving in 2022 to 9 districts with 2 members in each district, so 18 people. DuPage currently has 6 districts with 3 members each, and Will County has 13 districts with 2 members each. And then there are single member districts, and one is Kane and one is Lake. There is a number of board members by state statute. So the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 29. And if and when we ever get to a population of 800,000, which I would guess is not going to be anytime in the near future, but you never know, but I would guess, you can have no more than 18 board members on your county board. And there's also something important that happens at 800,000 people is you get a split. You have a separate board elected for the Forest Preserve. Right now, as a county board member, we get to serve on the Forest Preserve board as well. And then the last question is county board chair. If the county board chair should be elected countywide, as is done in McHenry, Kane, and DuPage, or if the chair is elected by their colleagues on the county board, which is done here in Lake, and that's every 2 years election. If they're elected countywide, it's every 4 years. And then Will County has a county executive, which is elected countywide. Let's see. So next slide, if we have one, or are we ready for questions, Alex?
We are ready to go.
Okay, perfect. So we'll leave this one up, and thank you so much. And let me just see if we have any questions. And just please recall, again, this is not like our town hall during COVID where we were able to really answer a lot of questions about COVID and resources and what's happening. This is truly a listening session. We know that the state had done that, and kudos to them for going around on sort of a listening tour around the state. So this is really a listening session. So there'll be times when we are sitting and just waiting to see if somebody's going to raise their hand. So thank you. I do see somebody has raised their hand. Thank you, Mary Plastina. And you are muted right now. There you go.
Okay. Are you taking guidance from Change Illinois? Is there some input from Change Illinois?
So this isn't normally a back and forth. This is really a listening session. So if I think I'm going to assume that you would like the county board to take input from Change Illinois.
No, I'm just wondering if there's been some communication with Change Illinois.
We have not. Well, I can't speak for that. I don't know if any of the board members. I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. I think I have another hand raised, perhaps. Amy Strack. And you, I think, are, let me just make sure. I show that you're still muted, Amy.
Okay.
There you go.
Am I good now? Okay.
You are, yes.
All right. Hello. Thank you for having this public hearing. I think it's great. I guess I would just like to advocate to ensure the spirit of fair maps and to protect against gerrymandering during this process. And I would like to ask if there will be an opportunity, and this could be answered later, for public hearings in the future as you're going through this process to see the maps that you are going to be suggesting, and to ensure that there's feedback before the Lake County Board makes a final vote.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I do see a Brian has raised his hand.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Brian, go ahead. And you are, there you go, you're unmuted.
Okay, thank you very much. Just would like to comment the same as the previous resident had stated about seeing the district maps prior to the rollout. If I understand correctly, it's on the table as to whether or not it is going to be a single versus a multi-member district. I would just like to say the same thing. I do suggest that maybe some sort of rollout be put forth to your constituents as to, you know, what that would entail, and in addition, what benefits there are to us to have that, because I do think that it's very cloudy as to what those advantages are. So I just think that might be important to get out there to help us understand what your thought process is should you decide to lean toward that route.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Oops, I see, sorry. Rich Garling.
Am I unmuted?
Now I can hear you. Yep.
All right, good. Hi. I would like to advocate for the fair mapping of the county board districts. I feel that the convoluted way that they were drawn out the last time was really quite silly. And that, I mean, you see some maps out there or some districts where it almost looks like Mayor Daley reaching out to O'Hare Airport, which I thought was kind of interesting. I also used to live in McHenry County, and there they had it to where you had, what was it, 4 members to each district. So they had a total of 24. And I kind of felt that diluted, representation of various groups within the county. And so I would be an advocate for keeping it single member districts, only small, perhaps smaller districts. I do have to say, I find it interesting that if we have over 800,000 people, we're actually going to have a smaller county board. That was interesting as to why they would do that. But, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I would advocate definitely for fair maps. It's things that make sense, and not just drawn out crazily just so that, we can gerrymander them. I'm not in favor of that at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Karen. And there you go, Karen.
I'm just curious, and piggybacking off what the last resident just said.
Karen, if I may, I can barely hear you. Let me just see if other people are having problems.
Sorry, can you hear me better?
I can hear you better now, yeah.
Okay. So I'm just piggybacking off what the last resident said about the kind of like the haphazard way the maps were drawn. I'm just curious if there will be an explanation as to why Round Lake Park was thrown into Southwest Lake County and all the other Round Lake areas where communities were put into the Northwest, and like Grayslake and all the other Round Lakes, Volo, which is where we're located, were put in Northwest, and Round Lake Park was thrown in Southwest. It makes no sense. And I would hope an explanation would be provided for that.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to thank some of our board members who are here tonight. I have Vice Chair Mary Ross Cunningham is here, as well as Linda Peterson and John Wasik. So thanks you guys for being here. Some of them had also, Vice Chair Cunningham was on last night, and I think maybe Member Peterson was as well. Yes, so thank you for being here. I have Sandra.
Hello. So I'd like to say that I am speaking in favor of absolutely no gerrymandering whatsoever. And I'm also in favor of a county board elected chair.
Thank you. And while we're waiting for somebody to raise their hand, there is a page on our site, on our website, where you can go.
Madam Chairman, hi, it's Gary Gibson again. For those viewing, it appears, oh, Chair Hart, you froze again for about 10 seconds. Yeah, I think you had just said about the page on the website.
Thank you, about reapportionment, and hopefully we'll get Wi-Fi fixed up here. It's still unstable. But if you can hear me, Gary, I was just gonna say where people could go to find information about reapportionment on our website. Do you mind taking people through that?
Sure.
Thank you.
When you go to the county's website, everyone hopefully knows, LakeCountyIL.gov, and you go on the opening page, and there is a government label that's about say a third of the way down in the blue area, and then down along the right, or sorry, the left-hand side, there's a county board section, and beneath that is reapportionment committee. And I can see Alex is showing that you right along on the screen. So you can see, and when you click on that, that pulls up information that the reapportionment committee, there are some studies that had been completed in the past from the year 2000 and the year 2017, 2018 that are available down below that Alex is pointing out right now, as well as other information regarding previous meetings. And then we'll have additional information provided. There's, as noted there, the members of the reapportionment committee. Chair Hart is serving as chair. Vice chair of the county board, Mary Ross Cunningham, is vice chair of the committee. Jennifer Clark from Libertyville, Mike Danforth from the Barrington area, Angelo Kyle from here in Waukegan, Linda Peterson from up in the Antioch area, and Jessica Volisic, who is from the Hawthorne Woods area, are the 7 members of the reapportionment committee that will be ultimately making a recommendation to the county board. So thanks, Alex, for tagging along with that. So if people want to have additional information on studies that have been provided, or where the reapportionment committee has been with minutes and information, that's all available on our website.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
And Crystal Larson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, and thank you other members of the board for being in attendance tonight as well. I wanted to speak on a number of the items that are presented here tonight. First is to advocate on behalf of single-member districts, the residents, to be able to have direct accountability to their elected representative, whereas in a multi-member district environment, we could have 3 or 4 potentially county board members all trying to represent us. And when there's a conflict or a disagreement, that can result in an inordinate amount of finger pointing at each other as to who's really responsible for that. I think maintaining that single member district maintains that level of accountability that the residents of Lake County deserve. I'd further advocate to retain the 21-member board. That 21-member board right now would represent approximately 33,000 residents per member. It allows for smaller government and better representation of each individual neighborhood and district by an individual, as opposed to reducing the number of members and spreading out that responsibility even further. Redistricting committee meetings and heard a couple of different discussions on that. I tend to find in favor that what we currently do at the county, it works very well for us. It allows for a change in leadership every 2 years as opposed to every 4, but it also reduces the overall costs to elections throughout the county. Would put up this new position as a 4-year term, but it would lead to spiraling costs in terms of elections, it becoming more of a countywide role. Finally, I'd like to speak on the Round Lake area as well. I know that in 2010, there was discussion and a need to create what I believe the board referred to as a superestimated data that's available right now. It appears the Round Lake area is 57 to 59% Hispanic, depending on how the block data is cut out. I would certainly advocate that the county board review that data from the 2020 census if possible, and if it is right, to ensure that a majority Hispanic district is kept together in the Round Lake area to provide appropriate representation of the diversity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And just as a reminder, that 2020 census data
Madam Chair, sorry, this is Gary again. I'll fill in, hopefully. I think I know where she was going. You froze again for a few seconds, Madam Chair. We definitely have to get that Wi-Fi fixed up in your offices.
Yeah. Go. Will you finish for me, Gary?
Well,
You know
I think where you were going was talking about the opportunity that we have for the state legislature to move forward with some kind of action that would enable, right now, as you have noted before, the county board is hamstrung by a state statute that has a July 1st or the first county board meeting in July, the regularly scheduled county board meeting in July, is the deadline to have our mapping completed. There have been discussions, as Chair Hart noted, regarding that possible opportunity for some legislation that might be coming up in the next week to week and a half. That is vital for us to be able to use that 2020 data that Chair Hart referenced, that either comes in August in the form of the legacy data, which I'm not a tech person by any stretch of the imagination, but it's all the data coming from the Census Bureau, but it's an unfiltered, unformatted format. The final product that is supposed to be coming out in mid to late September is in a regular formatted final version that that even someone like me, I think, could manipulate very easily. In either case, if the counties across the state were given the opportunity to have additional time to use that data, which I think we all would agree is imperative to make sure we're having the most accurate data we can have, so we can have the districts drawn with the correct minority, say, grouping pulled together. It'd be to all of our benefits. So if people are so inclined, if they reach out to their state legislator and let them know that indeed that is something that should occur. I know, as Chair Hart's indicated, she and other members of the county board have been reaching out to our state representatives and highly recommending that a new deadline be put into statute for this year. That I'm sure the state legislators would be open and accessible to hearing from others on this issue also. It is vitally important for us to be able to use that new data. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I do apologize to everybody. Hopefully I'm not still frozen. I know IT had been up here working today. There are a lot of wires hanging from the ceiling. So I might move down a floor. Hopefully I'll get better wireless downstairs. So sorry for the inconvenience. I have Dave Fink, please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Madam Chair. Thank you for this opportunity, and I just wanted to reinforce what the other citizens have been saying in terms of let's please be a leader. Lake County can be a leader in all this by not gerrymandering. And then my other question is will there be a place on the website where we can read the pluses and minuses of single versus multiple representation per district?
There is on the website, there is the reapportionment area. And I apologize if maybe you have just joined us. Gary, do you mind taking people through where they can find that, please? Oh, you're muted, Gary.
Yep, sorry.
That's okay.
Sure, be happy to. Alex, if we can, we can run through it again on screen. If you go to the county's web page, which is www.lakecountyil.gov, and you can see there right next, just to the right of the Lake County logo, you see government. You click on that drop down, and you go down to the left, and you see county board, and there'll be reapportionment committee. And when you click on that, that will bring up a bunch of information that we currently have available, talks about the process. And then farther down, there are some studies that we've attached. There was a study initially done. The most recent, obviously, at the very top is from 2018. And there's a 2000 study that is also supplied, that was done by professors at the University of Illinois in Chicago. The 2018 report was co-chaired by a former judge and I believe U.S. Attorney Fred Foreman and former State Representative Kathy Rigg. And I believe, and I don't recall which one, but in one of those appendixes, or maybe right in the report for 2018, there is some information regarding the pluses and minuses of single member versus multi-member district.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. I have Barbara Clip. Barbara, you are mute. There you go.
So finally, the unmute button came up. Thank you for this opportunity. I just like to reiterate what Crystal said. I'm really opposed to multi-member districts for a lot of reasons, for what she said in terms of accountability, but also there's kind of an intimacy in a smaller district and knowing the people, knowing the organizations. A really good county board member, as you know, is really engaged in the organizations and the people and the businesses in the area. And that's really hard to do in larger districts. So for that reason, I would prefer actually more board members. I think Crystal said that as well. More board members, single member districts. And I am also opposed to a countywide elected chair. I think that just gives the opportunity for special interests to really get involved in a way that I think is counterproductive. One last suggestion is I think it'd be kind of cool for someone interested, a more objective party, not that you guys aren't objective, but like League of Women Voters maybe, to do an educational presentation on the pros and cons of all these things.
Perfect. Thank you, Barbara.
Madam Chair, while we have a moment before some hands gets raised, there have been some comments I know earlier on about the one point that's noted there in the middle about the 800,000 population. We don't anticipate being anywhere near that, as I think we all can surmise by recent information, that we're probably going to be relatively flat. So we'll be around the 700,000, maybe around that figure for the data when it finally comes out. Under state statute, back, I'm trying to remember how many years ago it was, but DuPage County actually went over that 800,000 threshold. So I know there was one comment made about the 18. So that is according to state statute. Once you hit 800,000 in population, your county board can be no more than 18 board members. It also requires that the forest preserve be split off from the county board. So right now, as a candidate, if you're running for county board and you're elected, you serve simultaneously as a commissioner of the Lake County Forest Preserve. Under this state statute, once you hit 800,000, you have no more than 18 county board members, and it's only for county board. You're only elected in that right. The Forest Preserve commissioners are elected separately, and you cannot run for both seats simultaneously. So I just wanted to bring that out for people's information.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So just a reminder that we're here till 7:15. And so, you know, regardless, we'll be here till then. So hopefully people will share their thoughts with us. So just wanted to give that reminder. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, this is Gary again. I won't be saying anything in particular, but I know last night when we had our discussion, or our listening sessions, we did have a number of spaces like this. And I know we had some comments. I had jokingly referred to one time I would have a musical interlude from my Spotify account. So I won't bring it up, but if, you know, we referenced The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, or the new version by Disturbed. So I won't do that because of copyright issues, but just with is noted, when there's silence, I don't have a problem with silence, but sometimes, you know.
Certainly, listen, we grew up with music, right?
Yeah,
we had music.
We grew up, and, you know, particularly on radio, you know. So anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think last night we also had a sighting of the package of Oreos. Didn't we have that too? I can't remember. Maybe
Yes,
that was.
Yes, ma'am, we did. I was in the office late and did not have a chance to go out and get dinner. So yes, there were some Oreos that were floating.
An Oreo dinner was had.
I know.
By me too. We have Melanie Francisco.
Okay, am I live?
You are.
Okay. I would like to just echo what some of the other people said earlier. I am definitely in favor of single member districts. I don't know that I care so much how many people are on the board as long as it's an odd number, because I don't like ties, and I think, you know, getting stuff done is really, really important. And I would like to echo what Crystal said. I am a member of Round Lake myself, and it is largely Hispanic. And I am really concerned that that voice is heard well within our community, given how heavily Hispanic both this particular area is in its diversity, and also how Hispanic Lake County in general is. So I just think that's really, really important. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Melanie.
Madam Chair, I won't want to interrupt the silence anymore, but one last thing I will just point out. I want to make people aware, and just to commend communication staff. As I think a lot of people who are on the Zoom right now know, the county board over the past year with the pandemic, we've been live streaming all of our committee meetings and county board meetings. And our communication staff has done fantastic work in taking new technology, making sure that all the meetings that the county board has through the committee structure are open and accessible. So Alex Carr, Bailey Wyatt, Jeff Carlstone are all, I believe, working tonight as part of this effort. Aaron Thrower, who's a communications manager, is off on vacation this week, but we have other members. I know Chris Sell and others throughout the communication staff have done, I think, exemplary work over the past year, making sure that information is being made available to the residents throughout Lake County. And, again, providing that live streaming access that I know the board is interested in continuing even as we move out of this pandemic. So I just want to take a moment and thank them for all their hard work over the course of the year.
Thank you for doing that, Gary. And we have been having our committee meetings available on video. I think that started in early, 2019. So anybody can visit lakecountyil.gov, and on the side there's something that says County Board. You can click on that, and then you can go to agendas and meetings, I think it's called. But you can watch any past meeting if you would like. So thank you, Gary. Chair
Hart, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You froze just as you started to say something. So.
Okay, I don't know if this is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, it sounds, maybe it'll work better if I don't have video. I just wanted to say thank you. There's a lot of familiar names on our attendee list. And some of those people were here last night as well. So I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who's here this evening and for your interest in government overall, but local government and county government especially. My colleagues on the county board and I care deeply about public service. And so we really appreciate that you are here and they're also interested and that you care enough to spend your time on a beautiful evening to, even if you aren't giving your thoughts, you're also listening to what your friends and neighbors are saying across the county. So thank you very much. Alex, I don't know if you meant to raise your hand, but your hand's up.
I didn't. I was just making sure that it works still, because we haven't gotten attendees to raise their hand in a bit. So I guess it's just encouraging for anyone that's still here that wants to provide input. Now's a great time. We've had a long period of silence, so feel free to raise your hand if you want to provide any input or ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Madam Chair, I see a hand has been raised.
Thank you. I am having Wi-Fi problems, so my video is not on, but Carla, if you can get unmuted, that would be great. And you're muted right now. There you go.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yes.
And for me, it's very important as a Latina to be part of this, to be on this meeting, and also that you guys count Latinos in this meeting. So my question or my comment basically is, I would like to have the Latino population to be consolidated into the least number of states as possible.
Carla, I want to make sure that I could hear you correctly. I don't know if it's a problem with my computer. I'm sorry. Did you say you want to make sure, could you just repeat the very last part of what you said, please?
So for the Latino population to be consolidated into the least number of states possible.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry that you had to repeat it. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. So we just have about 7 minutes left, maybe 6. And just wanted to say thank you again for everybody who is still with us. If there is something that you would like to share with us, please do send any additional comments to countyboard@lakecountyil.gov. And for more information about reapportionment, you can visit lakecountyil.gov/4569. Thank you. And again, if anybody's still here and still may want to talk, you just hit the raise hand at the bottom of the screen if you're on your computer, or hit *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute on your phone. And we'll be here till 7:15. All right, we just have a couple minutes left. So again, thank you so much for being here. I want to say thank you again to Vice Chair Mary Ross Cunningham for being here last night And tonight, same with Linda Peterson. She was here last night and tonight, and John Wasick is here from the Grayslake area. So thanks so much. Really appreciate you all taking the time to join me on here so we can hear firsthand from the residents of Lake County. So thank you. Okay, I show it's 7:15. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Take care.